Originally, I was going to do this show and give my take on what happened this past weekend with the Cardinals series with the Pirates. By the way, they took 2 out of 3 in that one. Should have swept if it weren't for some costly errors, poor base running, and weak hitting in the finale. But instead, today, Wednesday, July 27th, 2011, will be a day that will forever live in infamy for the St. Louis Cardinals organization. They pulled the trigger on trading their future star outfielder in Colby Rasmus in what has to be the worst trade in Major League Baseball history. This will prove to be even worse and more lopsided than that infamous Ernie Broglio for Lou Brock deal back in 1964. Want details? I'll give them next. Okay, are you ready for this? The St. Louis Cardinals trade center fielder Colby Rasmus, along with pitchers Trevor Miller, Brian Talent, and pitching prospect P.J. Walters, to the Toronto Blue Jays in exchange for, get this, pitcher Edwin Jackson, who the Jays acquired from the White Sox just a short time earlier. It gets worse. In addition, they get relief pitchers Octavio Dotel and Mark Rzepcynski. Oh, the icing on the cake. They acquire Corey Patterson. What in the hell is John Mozeliak thinking? Basically, they get 4 guys, which they could easily have picked up off the waiver wire. The only positive, Trevor Miller and Brian Talent. See ya. But dealing Rasmus and P.J. Walters? Big mistake. Let's take a look at what we're getting. Edwin Jackson, a career record of 55-58 with a 4.53 ERA, playing for 6 different teams in 9 years. Basically, he's another 4th or 5th starter in the same mold of Kyle Loesch or Jake Westbrook. To make this worse, Cardinals general manager John Mozeliak turned down offers for Roy Halladay last year by the Jays, and as recent as last week, Mark Buehrle. 2 guys that know a little thing or two about winning when it counts. Mark Rzepcynski. Does it matter? He's going to be the same role that Trevor Miller was in. You know, pitch to a left-hander and get pulled immediately afterwards. Octavio Dotel. Excellent pickup for the pen. Only if it was 2002. And finally, Corey Patterson. Clearly, this year's version of Randy Winn. He's hitting .252 with 6 home runs and 33 RBIs through 89 games. Even the Cubs didn't want him. And you think LaRussa had problems with Rasmus's attitude? Speaking of Rasmus, this whole thing has Tony LaRussa's fingerprints all over it. You can say what you want about how he never materialized here in St. Louis and why, not to mention about how his father's interference with his career. Interestingly enough, he wasn't the first, and won't be the last player to be deemed a clubhouse cancer by a genius. Not after seeing him screw over the likes of Ozzie Smith, Ron Gant, Royce Clayton, Ray Langford, Kerry Robinson, Steve Klein, J.D. Drew, Ray King, Anthony Reyes, Scott Rowland, Jim Edmonds, Ryan Ludwig, and Brendan Ryan, amongst many others, over his tenure as Cardinals manager. Fact is, if this team ever wants to get back to respectability, LaRussa has to go. The sooner, the better. And John Mozeliak has proven he has no business putting together a Little League team, much less be a general manager of a Major League franchise. Seriously, if he was hell-bent on trading Rasmus, at least he could have waited a few more days. It's been proven, the closer you get to the deadline, the asking price goes up, and more general managers get desperate. You would have gotten a lot more in return. Instead, a case of Molson and a box of Kraft dinners would have been a better deal. As for those of you in Toronto, Alex Anthopoulos has proven he's the smartest man in your city's sports scene. Since many people up there that might be watching this are hockey fans, okay, Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I'll give you an analogy you can compare the impact of this trade to. It's the baseball equivalent of Tuukka Rask for Andrew Raycroft, with Mozeliak playing the role of John Ferguson Jr. That being said, I wish Rasmus the best of luck in his promising career with his new team, the Toronto Blue Jays. Completely and totally LaRussa free. And while you're up there, if you like coffee, don't forget to stop by Tim Hortons. The coffee is really good. As for the Cardinals, I am praying harder than ever that I'm completely dead wrong about this whole thing. Unfortunately, the reality is that the best we can expect is it will be a lateral move in terms of pitching. So, my question of the day, what are your thoughts on the trade? Do you think the Cardinals hit the jackpot with this move? Or would you rather vent on how bad we screwed up? Either way, let me know what you think. Submit your answers, comments, questions, responses, or anything else in the comment box below. Subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and check out www.i70baseball.com. The Cards enter tonight with a half-game lead on the Brewers and a game up on the Pirates. They're in the middle of a 4-game set with the Astros. Games they can clearly win and must win to stay in it. I'll be back later this week to talk about the series. Till then, go Cards!